Hello my crafty friends, I'm Lesley and thank you so much once again for stopping by Crafty Cards with Lesley. For today's card I'm using the stamp and die set from Stampin Up called Spotlight on Nature. These stamps are cling stamps which are a little different to use from the photopolymer stamps that I'm used to from Close to My Heart. But the details on these stamps are amazing. A new technique to explore for today is using embossing paste. So let's just jump right in and make a card. So this is the card we're going to make today. Unfortunately, I'm just sending way too many sympathy cards these days, but it's something that we definitely need to make. And so yeah, let's get started. As you can see with this card, it's just got a little bit of glimmer. Hopefully you can see that, just a little bit of glimmer in the background, and that's using the embossing paste. We haven't done that technique before, so I thought we'll just give it a shot. So let's just have a look at what I've used actually to make this card before we actually start. So it's just a regular size card, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I've used, as I said, the Spotlight on Nature, which is a lovely stamp. It doesn't come with the die, but I fussy cut them out already, so I didn't want to make you sit and have to watch me do all of that. And I got the With Heartfelt Sympathy from the Country Flowers set. So those are the stamps that I used. These are the little gems that I used, the little shimmer gems, the purple ones, and they've got a really nice little sort of etched detail on the top. I've used the Close to My Heart paper, which is the Pewter. So I've used the Pewter ink and the Pewter cardstock from Close to My Heart. The inks that I've used, the pens that I've used, are is Highland Heather, the light and the dark, the Stampin' Blends, which are really nice, and I love the brush tip on these ones. And for the leaves, I thought I'd keep it fairly subdued in color, so I didn't want to add any green, but I thought the gray sort of tone for the leaves works quite nicely, and that's the Close to My Heart one, the Ice Gray blend. So I think that's all of the different little products that I've used, except I actually cut out the card front with this die, which is an old one. It's a stacking die, so any stacking die will work, or you can just cut it on your paper trimmer. And this one I used for the little frame, and this one here, and I stacked actually 2 together and then used foam tape to make it pop out. But any frame die would work, or there again you can tape 2 stacking dies together and just make your own frame. So easy peasy for that one. And the little bows there, I don't know if you can see it, little bow, I wanted something very tiny, very discreet. All my ribbon that I had was quite bulky, so I came up with dental floss. It works really well. I just put 2 strings together and just made a little bow. So yeah, if you don't have a lot of supplies, just have a look around for, you know, other things that you can use instead. Now the stencil butter that I used is this one here, and it is what's it called? Opalescent Stardust butter, and it's by, I'm just trying to read it, tiny writing, Crafter's Workshop. And but the Close to My Heart, no, not Close to My Heart, wrong one, Stampin' Up, they do a stencil butter. They call it an embossing paste, and there's a shimmery one which is very similar to this one. So yeah, use what you have though. It's sort of nice to use up what you have. I always think anyway. Nice to get new stuff too. Anyway, let's go put this card together enough with the chatter. So as I said, I cut out lots and lots of the stamps. I fussy cut them all out, and I use the blending markers to make the color of the Highland Heather. And so you just take the lighter one first. All I do, take the lighter one first, and then the dark one, just put it at the shadow at the bottom. And then I take my little finger daubers and just went around the very tips just to sort of finish off the edges so they don't look quite as raw. Now this one, just forgot about this one here. So this little sprig that I used at the bottom here comes from this set here, Painted Lavender, and it's just this little sprig here with the die. So let's go and put this together. Let's do the stencil better first. Now I did one already just because it takes a little time to dry, not very long, but it tends to warp your paper as well. So a little tip, once it's dry, just put it through some copy paper and then put your shims on top and bottom, and then just feed it through your Big Shot or whatever die cut machine you have, and it just sort of presses it down flatter. But with the moisture from the stencil butter, it does tend to warp the paper a little bit, so you need quite strong adhesive as well to stick that down. So let's just take this and let's do the stencil butter. So the stencil that I used is an old Close to My Heart one. Don't know if you can really see that too clearly. Put this underneath and maybe you can. But any stencil that you have, and we're not going to do the whole background, just little portions of it. So I'll just position that, hopefully you can see it okay. You want it fairly straight if there's a design on there. Okay. And just a little spatula of some kind to spread it. We'll give it a little stir. Just take a little bit, and then you just need to scrape it on, just like pretend you were buttering some toast or something, just a little scrape. I'm going to do one corner, and the little square is going to go over the center, so you don't really need to have it over there. So just little random spots. You can tape this down if you want, but we're not putting a lot of pressure and moving it an awful lot, so it does tend to stay in place. Okay, so that really is all you have to do. So I'll just pop this away. And carefully, we'll just peel this off. And now hopefully you can see that. And with your stencil, the ideal thing is to go and dry it off straight away. Dry it off, wash it off, because if not it'll harden up. So I just have a piece of wet paper towel there and just put it on there until I can actually get around to cleaning it. So we'll move this to one side and we'll just let this dry. But I do have one all ready to go. So I've cut everything out, save a little bit of time, and I've even put the little dots, the sticky dots, on the little tape here for the dental floss bows. Okay, let's clear a few things out of the way. So, as I said, you need to really anchor this down because it does get a little bit warped and it will warp on your card. So I'm going to use tear and tape to put this down, or any sort of adhesive tape that you have that's quite strong and you want to do a continuous line around the edge. A tape runner is fine, but you tend to, you know, put it down and pick it up and you leave little gaps, and they'll come through on the front of your card. You'll see little sort of bubbles really, or warped paper. It won't be nice and flat. So just do it with something that's strong. Actually, we'll put one in the middle as well. Okay, I'll use my X-Acto knife just to peel this up. See little white bits coming through there. This is, as I said, close to my heart paper, and it's actually white core cardstock. So it does have that white little, if you tear it, you see the white coming through on it. And it's two-toned. I've used the darker side of this one. So 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 card. And then we're going to put this down. Now you could put it straight down onto the card. Now I took, I think I said this one, which is 4 by 5 1/4. So I cut two. I cut a white one and I cut the pewter cardstock. And then I took a little smidgen off the pewter one, just so you've got a little mat all the way around. Not very much, it's about 1/16 of an inch all the way around. But it just gives you that nice little frame. And see how nice and flat that lays. You don't get any sort of rippling coming through, which is nice. And I cut the back of this to make my little sentiment square. So we'll go ahead and stick that one down. And I'll just use tape runner for this part. You could actually put this up on foam tape too, dimensionals, and that would work. But the little square is going to be bumped up, so I thought that was probably enough. Just move that over a tad. Okay. That should do. So the next thing we're going to do is to pop this one down, and this is going to just go down flat. Now because I'm going to put it on the top of the stencil butter or the embossing paste, I'm going to use something sticky, really sticky. So I thought I'd just use this one, the tear and tape. I find it is a little bit stronger than the just the tape runner. Very sticky. Okay, so just want to have it over just slightly to one side. If you can, let me just move this over so you can see. So I just have it slightly over to one side because we're going to put the flowers of sprigs over on this side. So we'll put it about there. Try and get it straight. Okay, and I've already put the foam strips on this one, so I'll just take those off. So I took, I'll show you what I did with this square. I just took the two together, and I used glue to actually stick these together, and then just put the strips of foam tape behind. And it just gives it a little bit more dimension on your card. Not necessary. As you can see, this base one, this base square, it was a little reject of something that I stamped. So I just tend to keep them all and then use them for, if you want to bump a layer up, you're never going to see it. But you don't have to throw it away either. So we need to, I'll try and get my head over the top of this. And that's pretty close. So it just gives you that depth and that shadow. So now we're going to do some flower arranging. So this, I decided, it was sort of a last minute thought to put this little sprig on, just because we will see when we build it up, it just leaves a little gap at the bottom that just doesn't look finished off. So I thought it just sort of covered it up. So I think each one of these is going to look very different. So this one, on this one I actually broke it up into sections, but I think I might put this on whole. Nice to mix it up. Don't want to do them all the same. So I'm just going to take the glue down the center part here. And this is just white glue, and it will dry clear. Okay. Now I'll get my dimensionals, and then we'll put some underneath the flowers. Now we can just tip that up a little bit that way so it doesn't stick over the edge. So we're going to find some dimensionals. Here we go. So I'm going to put one underneath here and just try and get it on without you seeing it. Move it a little bit further down, and then we'll just move it over a little bit, and then we'll put one over the big one, or I should say under the big one. And that should hold all of that intact. I'll put a little bit at the bottom there, and then that will just stick on that part there. And just hold it down for a second. Keep it in place. Okay, so this little sprig, which I'm just going to snip this off. It reminds me of, excuse me, doing little flower arrangements. So let's see. Maybe we'll take that down there like that. And just tuck that around about there. That should do it. So we'll put let's see, dimensionals on those three, I think, and then glue on the other one. I like these that they've got the little angles on, so you can usually fit them in without any problems. Now I have some little dimensionals somewhere. See if I can find them. Yeah, here they are. These are so handy, those little areas. Let's figure out which one that's going on. This one here. Okay, I'll put that at about there. Now, do we need that leaf on there? We may as well leave it. Okay, so this one's going to cover this one up. See what I mean about it? Looks a little unruly down there. So I think what I'm going to do is just snip this part off here. And then we'll glue this one. And I'm not going to go right to the top on this one. Just let it be a little freer. And that way it'll just lift up a little bit. Okay, stick, stick. You find if you just hold it for a second, the warmth of your hand just it just makes it stick there a little faster. Okay, so my little dental floss bows, just snip those off. Oh dear. Okay, let's give that a little bit more glue. I think it'll be fine once it dries for sure. Just the little glue dots are so sticky. If you manage to get them on your finger, it pulls everything off. Okay, I'll just hold that down for a second. I'm going to snip this little bottom piece off. I think that's quite a nice little cluster. Okay, so let's go and add some little gems to them. And there's there's a couple of different shades to these. I think it's quite, they're quite pretty. Quite like these. So I'll probably do about the same as I've already done, I think. So, or maybe we'll mix it up a little bit. We'll put one on that side. Go for the purpley one, sort of a more of a got pinky hues, and the other's definitely purpley. So yeah, whichever works for what you're using. And I had one up here. Maybe I'll put one just down here. Don't really want to stick it where the stencil butter is, or the embossing paste, because it might not stick quite as well. So I'll find an area that doesn't have any, and that looks as though that's where it's meant to be. So I think that completes another card for today. As you can see, slightly different. This one I used the light side of the pewter paper, and this is the darker side. So there's a slight difference, as you can see, in the colour there, but I think they both work. So I'll list everything that I've used below to make this card. And if you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. Also click on the bell icon, and that way you'll be notified when I post new videos. If you would like to purchase any of the Stampin' Up products, you live in Canada and don't already have a demonstrator, you can certainly order through me. Just go to stampinup.ca and select me, Lesley Peters, in the search. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again soon. Bye bye.